Welcome back to another episode of Rookie Mistakes. I'm Ethan.
I'm Jeremy.
Rookie Mistakes is the sports podcast for the sports inept.
Yes, it's good to have you guys here. That song you just heard, that intro, a little taste of Tony Newmark and Gelf's upcoming song, Search for a Meaning. If you didn't hear it, it means they didn't send it to us, so that's on them. But pretty great song. You heard an exclusive sneak peek here first, so coming out February 9th. So Ethan, this week, big week.
Big week. Super Bowl week.
Yep.
I don't care too much for any of the teams, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm
not
still
the
here
matchup.
for the snacks.
The snacks, the food, the camaraderie. It's a good time. I am with you on that. I was not down for this matchup. It would have been fun to have some new teams here. These two teams have been good for a while. They've been in the Super Bowl recently. So,
do you have a favorite Super Bowl snack?
Oh man, I'm always down for like a 3-foot long sub sandwich that gets cut into like a bunch of small pieces.
Nice.
That's like when I see that, I'm like, oh,
that's
this
good. And
is
put on like a
Super Bowl
platter
party.
in like a pyramid shape.
Yeah, I kind of like it just the long way.
Oh, nice.
Everyone like takes a little piece from the middle.
Yeah,
that feels like a hardcore Super Bowl party to me.
Nice.
Do you have one?
I'm probably just like buffalo chicken,
Okay.
just like nice wings that are just, marinating in buffalo sauce. I'm a huge sauce guy, so the more sauce, the merrier. So buffalo, blue cheese ranch, you name it.
Ooh,
I
blue
love it with
cheese.
Granted, it's not kosher, I will admit, but alas.
That's all right. I won't try it, but I hope you enjoy it.
Yep.
Is buffalo your favorite sauce?
For chicken wings, I would say buffalo is my favorite sauce.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And where are you watching the Super Bowl this year? Do you have any plans?
Yes, I'm watching at David Burger's place.
Oh, very fun.
Yep.
David did text me. I feel bad that I said no.
Where are you
I
watching
already
it?
had plans to watch with our friends Tony and Gracie.
Oh,
at
nice.
their apartment.
Well,
Yeah.
Tony's just releasing a new song, so hopefully he'll be banging it in the background.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So actually, fun fact that you didn't know, I actually went to the Super Bowl last year.
No way.
Yeah, so I went to the
Have
Super
you been
Bowl.
hiding that from
A
me?
little bit.
That's
It's funny
so
because
cool.
friends are like, oh, does like Jeremy know you went to the Super Bowl? I'm like, no, he doesn't know, but like I don't want to hit him with it right now. I'm going to hit him with him during the Super Bowl pod.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so
how'd you get there?
I went to the Super Bowl because my uncle is a very, very big Eagles fan. And
Okay.
he told his children that if the Eagles ever made it to the Super Bowl, then he would take them. And he did 4 or 5 years ago when the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, this year, most of his children couldn't go. So my father piped in, hey, can I take my kids as well? And we went.
How many tickets did he get?
He got like 5 tickets. They were high up. I don't want to, talk smack about my uncle on camera. Also, like, I really appreciate the ticket.
Yeah.
I did not bring my glasses. I need my glasses for long distance viewing.
Could you not see?
I couldn't see so well, and I was like ripping my hair out. We just entered like the arena, and I was like, shit, I forgot my glasses, and it was still like 2 hours because they tailgate before the game starts.
Right.
They had the Eagles tailgate over here and the Chiefs tailgate over here, and for 2 hours we were just like sipping Bud Lights and like raging, and I was like, I really should go get my glasses now, but you can't exit the stadium and come back in.
Right.
So I was agonizing that I forgot my glasses.
So you couldn't see.
I could see a little bit, but let's just say like for any big event, I'm bringing my glasses because I want
Right.
to see it all. I really need the immersion. The 4K that my glasses provide is nuts. It's actually insane.
Were you watching on like the big screen instead of watching the field?
Yeah, but it's essentially like being at any game, being like in the 300 seats. Like
Okay.
you're going to watch the field, but also like for any replay, you're looking at the Jumbotron.
Right. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time. It was insane. I felt like sort of a loser because I didn't deserve to be at the Super Bowl. Given my lack of football knowledge, I felt a little bit like a fraud being there. But once I wiped that away, I put a couple bets down. So I just logged on to DraftKings and got like $100 in free betting.
Nice.
I made a 9-leg parlay in which the only thing that didn't hit was that Travis Kelce, I think, caught for 75 yards and he caught for like 68.
Brutal.
It was nuts. I would have won $750.
You also would have been an instant gambling addict.
Yeah, true. It would have been like chilling in my DraftKings account, and
Yeah.
obviously I just got to
Never
spend it
gonna
on
use
more
it.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah, marinating to be used in the future.
The mistake everyone makes.
Yeah, but it was crazy. It was just like absurd to be in that environment. It was so immersive. It was just great. I was like sending all of my friends texts on like, just being at the Super Bowl, zooming in because I think Rihanna did the halftime show.
Yeah, she did.
And I don't know, it was pretty crazy.
Wow. Okay. So, but you had watched the Super Bowl before at people's homes.
Sure.
Did you like being there more than watching from TV?
Certainly not.
Okay.
Not.
You much prefer to watch on TV with people.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a one-time thing, for like, almost like a bucket list item to go to the Super Bowl at one point in your life is amazing.
Right.
But like, definitely not worth the money you put in.
Okay.
Also, just getting an Airbnb in Phoenix, I think it was $1,000 a night, and it was like a pretty bad Airbnb.
Wow.
But really cool to be there. Really cool to experience. It was also my first professional football game I've ever been to.
The first game you've ever gone to was the Super Bowl.
Was the Super Bowl. The second one was the Giants. It was the Giants-Eagles game this season, which the Eagles got blown out by halftime.
My God.
But first professional football game. I went to the Super Bowl last year.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Eagles lost too, which let us sort of, bumbling home, sort of saddened. So that was
sad and a little hungover. And your dad and uncle are big Eagles fans.
Big Eagles fans, exactly.
That's upsetting for them. Wow, that's very cool. Okay, I've never been. I want to go to the Super Bowl as like a bucket list item, like you said.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the commercials. I enjoy the
Yeah.
replays that you see on TV that you don't see at the game, and it's just fun to watch with friends. So
Yeah.
one day, but I enjoy watching at home as well.
I get that. Yeah, the pregame tailgate was what I liked the most. Just drinking a lot and like raging face with Eagles fans.
Yeah, which I will do in my home.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I'm watching the game. All right, sweet. So we want to dive into how we got here, right? We have our Super Bowl matchup. It's the Kansas City Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers. And how did we get to this point? Like, what's the journey for these two teams to get here? So just a quick overview. We had 3 rounds of the NFL playoffs. The first round is called the wild card. So take a step back for a sec. 7 teams make the playoffs in the AFC, and 7 teams make the playoffs in the NFC. Those are the 2 conferences in football. And whichever team is left standing from each of those conferences plays each other in the Super Bowl, which is where we are now.
Okay, so the Super Bowl has 1 team from the AFC and 1 team from the NFC.
Correct. So the 49ers are from the NFC, the Chiefs are from the AFC. And the Chiefs played their first round in the wild card against the Dolphins and won that game pretty easily.
And why is it called the wild card, and what is a wild card?
Okay, so there are teams that make the playoffs because they won their division. There are 4 divisions in the AFC, 4 divisions in the NFC.
Okay.
Each team that wins their division automatically makes the playoffs. Then in each conference, there are 3 more spots up for grabs for the teams with the next best records. And those 3 spots are called wild card spots.
I see.
And those 3 teams in each conference also make the playoffs.
Okay, so just to break this down, there are 2 conferences, AFC and NFC. By default, in those conferences, there are 4 divisions, and 1 team from each division is automatically in the playoffs. So that's
Correct.
8 teams total in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And then in each conference, 3 additional teams get to go to the playoffs who have the best record of the teams that are still standing who aren't going to the playoffs already.
Correct.
Okay,
Exactly.
awesome.
You nailed that.
14 teams total. That
14
makes sense.
teams total. The top team from each conference gets a bye, which means they don't play in the wild card round. They get to rest.
Okay.
So the 49ers were that team in the NFC.
Okay.
They got to rest, so they did not play wild card weekend. The Chiefs, on the other hand, were the 3 seed, so they played the Dolphins in Kansas City that opening week wild card weekend.
Did the Dolphins get a wild card?
Yeah. So the Dolphins were a wild card team.
Okay.
Yeah. They were in the same division as the Bills. The Bills won the division. So
I
they
see.
got
And the
higher seed.
Ravens were actually the top seed of that conference.
Exactly. The Ravens won they were the top team in the AFC, so they had a bye.
I see.
Exactly. So the Chiefs started their playoff run by beating the Dolphins, and then in the next round, the divisional round, they beat the Bills, and then last week in the AFC Championship game, they beat the Ravens, who were the top team in the AFC. So the Chiefs had won 2 games coming into the playoffs. They won 3 games in the playoffs to make it to the Super Bowl. So they're currently on a 5-game winning streak. That is how they ended up in the Super Bowl.
I see. And also, are buys helpful? Because my volleyball team in a tournament last week got a bye, and it just led us to lose the first game that we played because I thought we didn't warm up enough.
Right. It's a really good question. I think very debated in the sports world. Sometimes a bye can be helpful if you have guys with injuries who need to get back and they need more time to recover. A lot of players don't like the bye because they feel like they get a little rusty.
Yeah.
They're out of practice.
Yeah.
They aren't used to that game speed instead of their own teams
That's how I felt.
whatever.
My volleyball team did not have the cohesion that we needed.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of truth to that. I think a lot of teams enjoy the bye because they get to rest, but they realize that it's a bit of a disadvantage. But on the NFC side of things, the 49ers, they had a bye during wild card week, like we mentioned, because they were the top team in the NFC. They played their first round in the divisional round against the Packers, and they won a very close game.
Okay.
A game that they probably should have lost.
Yes.
They got outplayed by the Packers, but they managed to win. And then last week, they also won a game that they probably had no business winning against the Lions. They had a huge 17-point comeback, won by 3, and that is how they made it to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not expected to win this game, it seems like.
Well, that is where you'd be wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Chiefs are coming in playing solid football. They didn't play their best game against the Ravens, and the 49ers have more talent than the Chiefs. So a lot of people think the 49ers are the better team on the whole, but again, they're not favored by very much because the two teams are pretty even.
I see.
Yeah. And although the 49ers have more talent across the board, the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, who's their quarterback, who's the best quarterback in the league, and the quarterback is obviously a huge difference maker in these games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the 49ers are actually 2-point favorites in this game. They're projected to win by 2 points. Yeah. So what do you need to know about each of these teams? I just mentioned Patrick Mahomes. He's the quarterback for the Chiefs. I want to give you the comparison. Patrick Mahomes has a 10-year, $450 million contract.
And the dude's like 24.
I think he's
26?
6 now, 27.
Crazy.
But he's making $45 million a year. At the time he signed the contract, it was the biggest contract in football.
Wait, is he making it a year or is over all the years in the contract?
It's $45 million a year, $450 for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty insane.
Yeah.
And this is his 6th season as an NFL starter. He has made it to the AFC Championship game every single season as a starter, which is unbelievable. In the NFL, their all-star game is called the Pro Bowl. He's been a 6-time Pro Bowler, so every single season he's been a starter. He's been good enough to be an all-star. He's won the MVP 2 times. He's a really accomplished. If his career ended right now, he would go to the Hall of Fame. That's how good he is.
Wow.
On the other side of the field, the 49ers quarterback is a guy named Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft his season. A moniker that they use for the last pick in the draft is called Mr. Irrelevant.
Wow.
They are the last pick in the draft. There has never been a Mr. Irrelevant who has even completed a pass in the NFL. Brock Purdy, you want to guess how much he makes compared to Patrick Mahomes? Mahomes makes $45 million a year.
I have no idea how to even orient myself, but maybe like $8 million a year.
He makes $800,000 a year.
Wow. I don't know why he's been playing this sport. The head injuries that come with playing this sport are not worth the $800,000 a year. But
$800K is pretty nice, but
it is.
He's got his brand endorsement deals also, which is like a more recent thing for him.
Yeah.
Because he had so much success.
Wasn't Tom Brady sort of Mr. Irrelevant?
He was close to it. Tom Brady was also picked in the last round of the draft and had an incredibly successful career. But there has never been a last pick, a Mr. Irrelevant.
Wow. How many years has Brock Purdy been playing
this
the sport?
This is his 2nd season. So last year, Brock Purdy was a rookie. He was the backup quarterback. The only reason he played last season is because the starter got injured, and then the backup, Jimmy Garoppolo, got injured.
This is a crazy story.
So he got his shot at playing.
This is a rags to riches story. I want him to win the Super Bowl.
It's hard not to root for the guy. He's adorable. He's like 22 or 23 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
And he's just had an incredible run. When he took over last year, they won their first 7 games with him at quarterback. They made it to the NFC Championship game, and he had a brutal injury against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, and they got destroyed. Ouch. So this year, he came in as the starter. They had an unbelievable season. They've been favorites for most of the year, and he led his team now to the Super Bowl and has just this crazy, unbelievable underdog story.
Yeah.
A lot of the criticism of him is that people say he's a system quarterback. What that means is that you could basically plug any quarterback into the offensive system that the 49ers run, and they can be successful. So people don't think that he's all that special, and there's a big debate right now.
Wow,
like, is this guy actually legit? Is he like a real quarterback? Is he the 49ers quarterback of the future? Or could they just plug anyone in, and when they have to come pay him, they're going to be like, no, we'll get someone else who's way cheaper.
Are these people pretty much saying he has a great supporting cast, and it's the cast that makes him who he is, rather than him make the cast who they are?
Exactly.
Okay.
The cast makes him who he is, the play calling makes him who he is, and the coaches make him who he is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So that is, you might hear during the game, they might talk about Brock Purdy as a game manager. That's what they're talking about. He just does the things within their offensive system. He doesn't make mistakes, but he's not doing anything special. That's what they talk about.
It's funny because it's the same thing, or there are parallels between a manager generally. Like, I sort of think my manager doesn't do anything, but just sort of like tells people what to do and is like delegating. But maybe we'll cut that if my manager listens to this pod.
If your manager ever listens, we can cut it out.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So that's the quarterback comparison. And the quarterback is the most important position in this game. You guys are going to hear a lot of storylines about Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy. They're going to be the two biggest names for this game. One of them makes $45 million a year. He's won 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, which means All-Star. And then you have Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant.
Wow.
Who
Can Brock Purdy like renegotiate his contract if he wins the Super Bowl?
So his contract is for 4 years. So he technically has 2 more years under this current contract. What the 49ers could do is they could choose to extend him or restructure his contract as like a, you won us a Super Bowl, let's get you paid. But if he comes out next year and has another amazing year, he can demand a lot more from them in free agency. So it's kind of a cat and mouse game. Do the 49ers think he's good enough to be their future? If they do, they'll give him an extension now so that they don't have to pay him a ton. If they don't, then they'll let it ride out. If he has a bad year next year, they move on to someone else. If he has a good year, then they might have to pay him a lot of money.
Yep.
So it's a tough spot for them to be in. But those are the 2 most important names. So that'll be a huge storyline throughout this game. The next important storyline, a lot of you guys have already heard about. Travis Kelce is the next player on the Chiefs who you should know. He is their tight end. He's the best tight end in football. Reminder for those of you who don't know, a tight end is a player who catches the ball. On offense, you have wide receivers and tight ends. Tight ends and wide receivers catch the ball from the quarterback.
Yep.
So he has been a 9-time Pro Bowler. He's only played in 11 seasons, and 9 of those 11, he's made the Pro Bowl or the All-Star game for football. He makes $47 million in his 5-year contract. So, again, quarterbacks are paid way more than most regular players.
Okay.
So Travis
So
Kelce,
he's making $10 million a year.
Yeah, roughly $10 million a year, which is great for a tight end. And as you all know, he is dating Taylor Swift. So that will be
that'll be interesting.
A definitely talked about storyline in this game. On the other side of the field, there's a player named George Kittle, who is the 49ers tight end. He is in his 7th year. He's been a 5-time Pro Bowler. He's really solid. Makes $75 million over 5 years.
Oh, wow. So he's got a bigger contract.
Yeah, he's got really long blonde hair. If he takes his helmet off on the field and
he's got a nice
back
mane.
and forth. Yeah, he's got a nice mane.
We need that in slow-mo a couple times, NFL.
Yeah, you'll definitely see it for sure. He likes to scream a lot, run up and down the sidelines.
Nice.
And then just 2 other important names you should know. The 49ers running back, Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be a name you hear a lot. He is the best running back in football. He led the league this year in yards and in touchdowns. So he is an incredibly impressive player. He's going to get the ball a lot in this game. He's also engaged to Olivia Culpo. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
So I didn't really either. But people seem to know who she is. She's,
okay.
I think she's a model or an actress.
Nice.
Maybe both. But they just got engaged
Good for
recently.
him.
So congrats.
Nice.
Congrats to them.
Congrats. Maybe we'll see another engagement this Super Bowl.
Ooh, save that for later.
All right.
That's something we might want to bet on. And then, I think the only other important note here, the 2 coaches, you're going to see them a lot on the sidelines. Andy Reid is the Chiefs coach. He's in his 25th year as an NFL head coach. He has the 5th most wins all time.
Dude is really fat.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
Did he play?
I don't know if he played. He probably did.
He probably did.
Probably
he looks like
played.
someone who played. The stash
Yeah,
gives it away.
Probably played offensive line. He's got the football stature for sure, and the stash, as you mentioned. But he's a very lovable guy.
Yeah.
He's in a ton of commercials nowadays because he's become very recognizable. He's had a ton of success with the Chiefs, and this is his 25th season in the NFL.
It's pretty crazy.
Pretty incredible. On the other side of the field is the 49ers coach, Kyle Shanahan. If you guys hear during the broadcast that the 49ers coach is a genius, that's who they're talking about. They're talking about Kyle Shanahan. He's largely thought of in the NFL as an incredibly innovative, smart coach, and that a lot of the 49ers' success is because of his coaching. And this is only his 7th year as an NFL coach, all with the 49ers. So this is a big game for him.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are the names you need to know. Those are people who are going to be talked about a lot. You're going to see them on camera a lot. And just remember that quarterback matchup is pretty crucial. You've got
Brock Purdy,
the best in the league against an upcoming star who was taken last in his draft.
Yeah. The other interesting thing about this is the spread. And we did talk about the spread in episode 2 and how the spread works. But we also got a lot of feedback that we went way too in depth, and we need to dim it down a little bit.
Yeah.
For our more leisurely listeners.
Yeah, and you would come up with a good example for how to explain it to people.
So I came up with a good example, and the example has to do with the arcade game Pop-A-Shot.
Okay.
Pop-A-Shot, for those who don't know, who should really know, is the arcade game where you have a basketball and like a rim in front of you, and you try to make as many baskets in 60 seconds as possible. Right. And there's always like crazy records of like 85 baskets, and you're like, who the fuck did that? I also think there's like an Asian guy at a Mavericks game who like...
The guy who like
that was
both
crazy.
hands
During like halftime. Yeah, he destroyed.
He looked like a robot.
Yeah,
he had both hands.
He was an automaton
in the thing, and just would pick the ball up and flip it backhanded.
Yeah, and he didn't miss one. Like I think that is
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the upper bound of what's humanly possible in Pop-A-Shot.
That looked like AI generated.
Yeah,
it did not look real. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it looked like a boomerang, just like on repeat. So anyway, I'm not that good. Although I will say, junior year of college, we had a Pop-A-Shot in our apartment, which was really fun because me and Patrick Skelly would wake up early and just like shoot hoops in our like living room.
I remember when we came to visit you guys in Michigan your senior year, we played Pop-A-Shot.
Yeah,
like every second we had.
So fun. We played horse. We played like all these games.
Yeah.
So anyway, Pop-A-Shot. Great game, not the point. Pop-A-Shot, you have 60 seconds to make as many baskets as possible. And I think I could probably make 25. Now, you played basketball now and in high school, and you probably could make, what do you think, 32, 33?
Sure, in however many seconds.
In 60 seconds?
Yeah.
So you can make 32, I can make 25, which means if someone were to bet on who would win, they would probably put money on you because you're expected to win. You're expected to actually make more shots than me. So it's not an even odds. If we instead said, okay, you can bet $1 on Jeremy and make $1, or you could bet $1 on Ethan and make $5, they might say, okay, it's worth it to try betting on Ethan because while he's not favored, it's worthwhile for my bet. And the difference between our two expected points, which is 7, 32 minus 25, that actually is what people call the spread. If we were to impose a spread on this game between me and you on Pop-A-Shot, it would actually be Jeremy minus 7. Right. So Jeremy's expected to win by 7.
Right.
Or Ethan plus 7. Ethan's expected to lose by 7.
Right.
So in that sense, if you were to bet on the spread and you said, I want to bet $1 on Jeremy, that really means that they're betting that you make at least 7 more than me.
That's if they want to bet on the spread.
If they want to bet on the spread,
right.
Exactly.
Correct. So if I only make 6 more than you, they would lose that bet.
They would lose that bet, even though you made 31 and I made 25.
Right.
Which is it's interesting because you can see how in the spread there's a favorable team that's like baked into the spread such that when you're betting on it, that's how they make the odds pretty much 1-to-1 generally.
Right, exactly. So like for our example of the Super Bowl, if the 49ers are favored by 2 points, they're -2.
Yeah.
That means even if they win by 1, but you bet on them on the spread, you would lose.
Exactly. And then the over-under would, I guess, just be the addition of our two scores. So I'm expected to make 25. You're expected to make 32. You add the two of them, you get 57.
Nice.
57.
Nice.
So that would be where the over-under line set.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if I bet over on the over-under, then I would expect that when we're playing Pop-A-Shot, we're going to together make over 57 points.
Right.
And then if I bet the under, it'd be the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
And then lastly, the money line, I guess, would just be if you put $1 on you to win generally and put $1 on me to win generally, how much money would you get back for that?
Exactly. And you're going to get a bigger payout betting that $1 on you to win.
Yep.
Because you're expected to lose by 7 baskets.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, in this game, 49ers are -2 on the spread, which means they're expected to win by 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then what that also means is if you're betting on the money line and you bet on the Chiefs, you're going to get a bigger payout.
Exactly. If you put an equal amount on both of them and the Chiefs win, you're going to get more money on that bet than on the 49ers because the 49ers are the favorite.
Yeah. Awesome. So that was a good little tangent.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you a little bit on actually like how expected were these teams to get here to play each other in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And if I were to put $100 before the season even started on the Chiefs and the 49ers, what would the payout look like for them to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's a great question. So both of these teams were expected to do really well this year. Last year, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. And last year, the 49ers lost in the NFC Championship game. So these two teams were 2 of the Final 4 last year. One of them ended up winning it. Coming into the season, the Chiefs were the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Compared to all the rest of the teams in the league, the Chiefs had the best odds to win. The 49ers had the 4th best odds to win. So still, one of the favorites to win. Coming into the year, the Chiefs were +600 to win the Super Bowl. That means if you put $100 on the Chiefs at the beginning of the season to win the Super Bowl and they win this weekend, you would make $600. The 49ers were plus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl. So if you put $100 on them and they win the Super Bowl this coming weekend, you would have made $1,000.
It's like less than I would think, just because of the variability of a season.
Yeah.
Right. Like if Mahomes gets injured, that's pretty much done for the Chiefs are done. Same with Brock Purdy, it seems like, for the 49ers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I expected these numbers to be a little bit bigger.
I agree with you. By that same token, these teams are both here in the Super Bowl.
That's true.
So the odds makers did know what they were doing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, coming into the year, the Chiefs and 49ers were two of the favorites in the league. People thought they would do well. This is not a surprising matchup by any stretch. In that same vein, there are a lot of funny things that you guys can bet on for this Super Bowl. So
For sure.
you can bet things on gambling apps, and then you can also just bet things with your friends. So we want to give you guys a few things that you can just have a fun time with while you're watching the game. It makes the game a little more interesting and entertaining. So the first one that I wanted to call out, because I think it's culturally relevant, and they had this on all of the apps, they now have bets catered to Taylor Swift.
That's fine.
There's literally a tab on the DraftKings app that says Swifties.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you click on
They're unlocking a whole new market with
it's
that.
unbelievable what they're doing. It's smart. You got to take advantage of it, but hard.
So what are those
football
bets
people.
like?
So one of the bets is called 22.
Okay.
And that bet is any quarter in the game to have 22 or more points scored. So if the teams combine for 22 or more, you win that bet.
And it's because she wrote a song named 22.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For those of you who don't know that, you should stop living under a rock.
And start listening to more Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that too. The next one is called the Anti-Hero, or Anti-Hero, as she says it in her song. That is a bet on like Brock Purdy to do a lot of good things for the 49ers, because it would mean the 49ers beating the Chiefs. There are a few others. It's honestly kind of nuts that they have bets catered to this, but people are going to bet on them. So that one's fun. You can bet on the coin toss, heads or tails. You can bet on how many times they'll show Taylor Swift on camera. Nice. The over-under on that one is 4.5. So if you want to bet that one with your friends, that's a fun one. This kind of gets into what we had talked about last episode about ineligible man downfield. Yeah. They have a bet for an unauthorized person on the field.
Oh my gosh. Does that also pertain to, I assume, someone from the audience running around on the field? Does it pertain to an ineligible man downfield as well?
Unrelated.
Okay.
No. Okay. But if an unauthorized person goes onto the field, the odds of that happening are plus 300. Okay. So you could bet $100 and win 300 if a streaker goes across the field at the Super Bowl.
Okay, so what's good with someone placing that bet and also being that streaker and placing enough money to like submit his bail from the jury whenever he goes to court?
Wow, that's a tremendous question. I think it's only legal to bet on something like that in Canada. Canada has weird betting rules. Like, you can bet on anything there.
Wow.
I don't know if you can actually legally bet that on a sports book, but if you find a bookie to place that bet for you and you give him like $100,000 and you win $300K, yeah, you could. You could
really do some damage. Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
There's other consequences that come with that, though. It's on your record permanently. True. It's hard to get it expunged, things like that.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe don't streak, but if you run,
if
you don't have to streak for.
Or if you even pretend to fall, down the steps and onto the field.
I wonder if they'd count that.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone who bets on it will fight.
I do wonder who's making the decision of like whether that constitutes someone that's not supposed to be there on the field or not. Anyway, there's obviously some on Reba McEntire is singing the Star Spangled Banner and how long it will take.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our plug there, JoJo Himmelman, does not have a friend
anymore.
Yes,
what happened to them?
I don't know. I just think they've fallen out of touch.
Oh no.
But there's a ton of insight here. She actually, the last time she performed the Star Spangled Banner was Game 3 of the 1997 World Series. Whoa. That rendition clocked in at 83 seconds. Wow. The over-under for this Super Bowl is 89.5. So
that's got to be historically low.
Yeah.
Because the national anthem singers like to really drag it out. Yeah. It's their big moment.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
So, I mean, not that Reba McEntire needs a big moment, but this is pretty big.
It's pretty big. It is 6.5 seconds more than what she sang during the 1997 World Series. Right. I think a lot of people are taking the under there, but I imagine, as we've talked about last time, on opposite sides, they're probably even in terms of the bets that are being taken.
They'll ultimately even it out depending on where the money goes. Another fun one you could bet on is the Gatorade bath. Whenever the team wins, they dump Gatorade on the coach. So if you want to bet on the color of that Gatorade, you could do that. The last one that you could do with your friends that's fun, just if you're watching with a bunch of people, who's going to use the bathroom first? That's a fun one.
That is a good one.
They have another good one. Will any player propose to their girlfriend on the field after the game? That's really just Travis Kelce, Taylor
Are
Swift
there
bet.
any other close engagements of
Not that I
players
know
in
of. I think
the
a
Super
couple
Bowl?
other, like McCaffrey and Olivia Culpo are already engaged.
Yeah.
Kyle Juszczyk and his wife are already married. There might be some others, but none that would get the camera's attention quite like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
You would have like a player actually do the engagement, but none of the cameras caught it, so the bet didn't hit.
Yeah, it's like a tree falls in a forest and no one's around.
Precisely.
Yeah. Anything else here? The only other funny one is who will the Super Bowl MVP mention first in his speech? The favorite on that one is his teammates. Next would be God or Jesus. The next is their city. And then family members, coach, none, or the owner. The owner has the longest odds. They're not going to mention the owner first. No way. But yeah, there's a lot of betting you guys can do on this game, on the Super Bowl.
That'll be fun.
You can do it with your friends. You don't even need a sports book. It's just a fun way to get more into the game.
Yep. Okay, so let's get into the spectacle of the Super Bowl. Things like viewership, ticket costs, halftime shows, commercials, things people really care about.
Yeah. There's so much that goes on around the Super Bowl. It is such a spectacle, as you mentioned. So how many people watch the Super Bowl? We talked about this in episode 1. Last year's Super Bowl had 115 million viewers on average, which is so crazy. That's so many people. And people think it's going to be even more this year, partly because of the matchup and the teams that are, they're popular teams and they're historically good. A lot of people think there is a Taylor Swift effect. So NFL is expecting big numbers on this game. How much it costs to actually go, I don't know if your uncle told you.
I looked it up, but he didn't tell me himself.
Okay, because if he's shelling out money for 5 tickets, the average cost this year to get into a game is around $10,000. The cheapest ticket you can get is $8,000. So getting to the Super Bowl, very, very costly endeavor.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I also heard an odd tidbit about this. So ticket prices have actually gone down. The past 5 days, they went down on average $1,100.
Really?
Which is interesting. And then I heard someone say that for the same amount of money, you could sit in the nosebleeds at approximately 200 Major League Baseball games with the leftover cash. So $1,100, you could sit 200 games in the nosebleeds. That just tells you how much more people care about the NFL than the MLB.
That
Alas.
is unbelievable. Wait, why have ticket costs gone down?
I don't know. They didn't really talk about it. All they said is it's a good day to be a patient football fan.
Wow.
If people are still waiting, they actually suggested that they wait even longer to buy tickets, but no one's really sure exactly why.
My guess there is that Taylor Swift fans are crazy and bought tickets as soon as the Chiefs won so that they could be close to Taylor.
Yeah.
And then since then,
Yeah.
the prices have gone down a bit. But still nuts how expensive these tickets are. And there's been a fun story. Christian McCaffrey's mom, the running back for the 49ers, his mom was on a podcast on a radio show talking about how she can't even afford to get one of the suites at the stadium because it's just outrageously expensive. And then McCaffrey's fiance, Olivia Culpo, surprised her with tickets to a suite. So that was nice of her. But the suite cost, the cheapest one is $300K. And if you wanted to rent the owner's suite equivalent, it's $2.5 million.
Oh my gosh.
So it's kind of outrageous.
I'm surprised they don't give players' families suite access.
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't, but
who knows?
They can make a ton of money off people who want to spend for it. So yeah, that's how much it costs to get to a game. I would much prefer to watch at home. Count me in the 115 million. That's fine with me. But you had a little bit of info on the halftime show this year. The halftime show is always a big spectacle.
Halftime show is a spectacle always. It's going to be Usher this year.
Nice.
I'm sure there's a ton of prop bets on what song he's singing first and things like this.
For sure. You have a favorite Usher song?
Does he sing "Buy Me a Drink"?
No, that's T-Pain.
Ouch. I don't have a favorite Usher song.
Okay, that's fine.
Do you have a favorite Usher song? It's hard to say.
Usher song.
Yeah.
Not really. I like the one that goes, oh my God.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a fun one. I'm sure he'll do that one.
Nice.
Yeah, but
he's sort of I haven't heard Usher songs since Bar Mitzvah season.
Yeah, like when they announced him, like I was like, okay, Usher, all right. I'm excited for the guests because they'll bring people out, and the guests.
Also, I do want to be clear. I think it's "Buy You a Drink" and not "Buy Me a Drink."
It is. I didn't want to call you out twice for getting the artist and the song name
That's
wrong.
true.
Yeah.
Anyway, halftime show. So, interestingly enough, in 2023, I believe Apple took over the halftime show from Pepsi. I always knew it as the Pepsi halftime show. Apparently now it's the Apple halftime show.
Oh, good for them.
Probably still hasn't caught on in public discourse,
Not
but
quite.
Apple's doing some big things here, not just with the halftime show, but with their new VR headset.
Oh yeah.
We don't need to talk about that here.
Yeah.
But all my Twitter feed is peppered with people walking down the street doing like weird things with their hands, gestures for the VR headset that they're wearing. Anyway, it's very weird stuff.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
The VR headset trips me up.
Yeah, it's some weird shit.
Yeah, it's freaky.
Anyway, another cool thing about the halftime show, performers don't get paid at all, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, so the NFL doesn't pay any of the artists. They do cover all expenses and costs, though.
Okay.
And given what other, positive benefits the artists get from performing at
Right.
the halftime show, I'm sure their Spotify listens are blowing through the roof.
Skyrocket.
And their Google searches just the
Right.
same. So they're not paying the artists. I think that even without paying the artists want to come more than, the fact that they're not being paid for it.
Yeah. I mean, it is a huge, I don't want to say honor because maybe they would scoff at that, but it's got to be like a huge privilege to perform at the Super Bowl. It's easily the biggest concert you could ever do. Like you've got 115 million people watching you.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not surprised that they don't get paid. I guess it's like not
It's weird,
expected, but
Yeah.
I mean, they probably make so much money off people just streaming their music afterwards, finding them on Instagram, finding them on YouTube. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Good for us.
Yeah, people compare it to an unpaid internship. Anyway.
Yeah, that's rough.
And I think also big part of Super Bowl spectacle is the commercials.
The commercials. Yeah, I think that's the biggest downside of actually being at the game.
Yes.
Super Bowl commercials have always been a huge component of the game stops and people think like, oh, now is our time to schmooze and like get up and go to the bathroom. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Sit down. You want to watch these commercials.
Yep.
So the commercials are always fun. They cost a ton of
much
money. Do you want to tell us how much a Super Bowl commercial costs for
Yeah.
a brand to get it?
Yeah, so at least in 2023, 30 seconds of a Super Bowl commercial costs on average $7 million.
So much money.
Do you know the most expensive Super Bowl commercial
In history?
in history?
I feel like it has to be. Last year, Paramount did a 2-minute commercial. So if it's $7 million for 30 seconds, maybe they got a deal and paid like $20 million for 2 minutes. I'm gonna guess Paramount.
It actually isn't, but it is a big corporation.
Okay.
It was Amazon in 2022. They spent $26 million on an Alexa voice assistant commercial.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How long was the commercial?
I don't know. I don't really know. I'm sure it was like 2.5 minutes from the
They
math.
just took up the full commercial segment.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is a big dick move.
Amazon has. It really is. They have so much money.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's also interesting, which is like obvious, but once you think about it, it becomes interesting, at least to me, is the fact that sports commercials in general are so expensive is because literally no one watches commercials anymore. I mean,
Right.
Everything's being streamed.
So true.
Every time I hit a YouTube ad that's before my video,
Yep,
I'm
skip
skipping it in 5 seconds,
Yep.
and then they give me another ad that I skip 5 seconds later.
Right.
But like, no one ever watches commercials except at live sports events.
So true.
And like, that's why this is still like the only real advertising market
Yeah.
that's still lucrative.
That's why sports TV contracts are so lucrative, because it's the only live show you can really get nowadays.
Yeah.
Like people are glued to their TV for it. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great point.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Wow. You can also bet on the first commercial, like which brand is going to have it. I think historically a lot of money has gone to like Budweiser, Corona, a lot of beer
interesting.
brands, but this year could be a car brand. Who knows? I don't know who's going to get the first one, but it's a lot.
It'll be fun to watch. I remember one of the Super Bowl commercials that sticks out to me was like Coinbase. Either it was this year or the year before, where I think for like
was it the QR code?
yeah, for 30 seconds they just like plastered a QR code on the screen with like nothing else.
It was like the Dell screensaver where it just
Yeah. Oh,
slid
yes.
across the screen
That was
like
cool.
from corner to corner.
Yeah, that was like
awesome.
a little bit like eerie and dystopian,
Yes.
but I sort of fucked with it.
Also, it blew up. Everyone was like, "This
blew
was
up.
the smartest commercial ever."
Yeah, it blew up.
Everyone took out their phone and scanned the QR code. It was so smart.
Yeah, it does get into like minimalist advertising and like
For
what it
sure.
can do.
The other cool part about the commercials is that you pay different amounts depending on where in the game your commercial is. So the reason that people bet on the first commercial after kickoff is because it's the most expensive spot, because everyone has finally made their way to the couch. They've gotten their food. They're settled. They're watching the TV. After kickoff, when it goes to commercial, everyone is watching.
Yeah.
So that commercial spot is really expensive.
That's cool.
If you get one in the middle of the third quarter, Probably not as expensive. I'm
Yeah.
sure you still pay millions of dollars for it, but it's
Yeah, but if it's a
less.
blowout, then people may have left their couch.
Exactly.
You know, they're schmoozing in the other room.
Yeah. Big risk to buy a commercial in the fourth quarter as a brand because it could pay off and you have people glued to the game, or if it's a bad game, like
Yeah.
your viewership goes from 100 million to 50 million. And then
Do you
it's
think
like,
there's
it's
any
tough.
insurance you can buy?
I don't think so.
Uh,
I mean, maybe, but like
right, like if a team's winning by 20 by the fourth quarter, then you get like a 30% discount or something like that.
maybe they have it negotiated into the contracts. It would be smart if they did that. But
Yeah.
also, like, the risk reward there is high. Maybe you pay less for the fourth quarter,
That's true.
but your payout could be awesome.
That's true. So anyway, Super Bowl commercials, always a big part of the game. I do agree that going to the game was not as fun because I didn't get to see the commercials. And it
Yeah.
was also like, I don't know. I was still, again, high up without glasses on. I
Yeah.
just wanted to like see shit.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
It was rough. It was really rough. It's like I still forget my glasses sometimes, mostly Broadway shows and concerts. Yeah. Like I just need
You should
contacts
have
now.
them glued to you.
I know, AK contacts. I need dailies. But my eyes are good enough where I can still, get the main idea. It's just, when I'm going to a concert too, I want to be able to see the performers.
Right.
Sarah is like, you don't need to be able to see the performers. You just need to be able to hear. But I also want to be able to see what's
No.
going on stage.
It's too practical of her.
Yeah.
No.
Come on.
Wait, you don't have contacts?
I don't have contacts, but I'm thinking about it.
What's your prescription?
Negative 0.25, negative 0.25.
Oh, you're fine.
No, it's
Get
not
out
fine.
of here.
I need to have the full immersive experience.
Oh, I thought you were going to do like a -6 or
No,
8.
no,
Oh, man. You're fine.
No, I don't have -6. I would need like some thick lenses for that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's not as bad as
It's
I
not
thought.
debilitating, but it does suck.
Clearly not.
Anyway, so I think the last thing we want to talk about is Super Bowl conspiracies.
Yes.
Obviously, we need to touch on Taylor Swift.
Have to touch on Taylor Swift. The NFL and sports in general always have just wild conspiracy theories swirling around. The Super Bowl is no exception.
Yeah.
I think the funniest one that has come to light recently is like a pretty far right conspiracy theory that the NFL rigged the playoffs so that the Chiefs could get into the Super Bowl, and that at halftime, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce could come onto the field and endorse Joe Biden for the
Yes.
upcoming election.
Yes. The MAGA conspiracy, it was actually written about in the New York Times.
No way.
Yeah. I think I got a breaking news update. Anyway, it is very funny. Now, I looked into this a little bit, and like, what effect would they have on the election?
I was thinking the same thing. Like,
Well, it's interesting.
what do they say?
Because in September, Taylor Swift posted a short message on her Instagram about encouraging her 272 million followers to register to vote, and it led to more than 35,000 registrations
Really?
on the nonpartisan nonprofit vote.org. So there's a
Wow.
strong correlation.
Whoa. So it's not even that she's influencing people's opinions. It's that she's mobilizing people to
Yeah,
register
get out the
or
vote,
to
baby.
even vote.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
It's crazy.
whoa.
Yeah.
This is an outrageous conspiracy.
It's outrageous, but even without them endorsing Joe Biden, the fact that they're pretty publicly talking about being, adhering to
Right.
Democratic values or Democratic Party values.
Right.
A lot of people just think that the NFL was able to conjure up the Chiefs even getting to the Super Bowl for all of the attention
Right.
of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
he's on like a ton of podcasts talking about COVID vaccines.
Yeah.
She's talking about other, just more Democratic leaning work on her
Yeah.
Instagram. So it does make sense why MAGA followers might think that there is some conspiracy here.
I mean, it checks out. It
Yeah.
checks out. Still
Yeah.
outrageous. The next one that had actually been disproven by the 49ers and Chiefs being the matchup is last week. There was a huge conspiracy going around that the NFL scripted the playoffs because the Super Bowl logo was purple and red. Purple for the Ravens, red for the 49ers. Now, because the Chiefs beat the Ravens, it's just red and red.
Yep.
So that conspiracy was disproven.
Yep.
But that one caught a lot of steam
Yeah.
until the Ravens lost, obviously.
Yeah. Myth busted.
Yeah.
But
busted.
it is interesting that it even got this far because the past 3 years, it
Yeah.
has all been correlated very heavily.
Last year was green and red.
Exactly.
Eagles green, Chiefs red. The year before that, it was Bengals against the Rams, and the color of the Super Bowl logo was orange and yellow.
Yeah. They all look
so
really cool, though.
They're pretty sweet logos,
Yeah.
but yeah, if this one had been proven right, if the Ravens had played the 49ers in the Super Bowl, I think people would have lost their minds next
Yeah.
year when the logo came out. They'd have
Yeah.
been like, oh,
That's it.
Script leak.
That's it.
We know what's going to happen. Another conspiracy here is that just the whole Kelsey Swift relationship has been orchestrated by the NFL. That's a big one. They think it helps with viewership. Kelsey jersey sales are up 400% since Taylor Swift's first game appearance.
Wow.
Viewership has obviously skyrocketed for the NFL. So
they don't need more viewers is the thing. Like, give it to the MLB. The MLB needs a really nice relationship.
It's true. When we get to baseball later on, like we'll talk about the viewership. They need it.
Yeah.
The NFL just... The NFL is king. Football is king.
Football is king. There is another, I don't even know if you'd call it a conspiracy, but people are thinking that there will be a proposal after the game. I do think that if the Chiefs lose, Travis Kelce probably won't be proposing. He'll probably be a little bit more somber.
You would think. You would think, but also kind of crazy to base your proposal on like whether you win a game or not.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, it would be a magical moment.
But also, I don't know who I was listening to a different podcast, and it's like, where's the ring going to be during the game?
Tremendous question.
Like who's holding it? Like, he's not like putting it in his sock. Like, that shit's going to be sweaty.
And damaged.
And damaged, probably.
You could probably pay someone $100,000 to
like
stand on the sideline, hold it for him.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. That would be
give it to coach.
The odds on there being a proposal are plus 210. So if you want to bet on them getting engaged on the field, you could bet $100 and win 210.
It's really higher than I'd think.
I thought it would be like plus 20,000.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, if you're Travis Kelce, he probably doesn't want to take the moment away from his teammates. Like he doesn't 100%. Want to distract from like what his team just did. 100%. So I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah. I tend to agree.
Yeah.
But also, I think, like, granted, they have no private life, but they probably want to do things a little bit more in private if possible.
Yeah, you would think.
But who knows?
They also are, like, two of the most public figures in the world.
It's true.
That's kind of hard to hide from cameras.
It's true.
Yeah. So that's the rundown. You got anything else?
No, those are good conspiracies. These will be good to talk about during the game. You're well equipped now. So.
Yeah. If you guys don't know how to watch the Super Bowl now, I'm sorry. We can't help you anymore.
Yeah. But let's get into Hold My Beer.
Yeah. Just quick hitters for Hold My Beer this week. There is a golf tournament this coming weekend called the Waste Management Open. It happens every weekend, the same weekend as the Super Bowl. And this golf tournament is known for being rowdy. Golf in general is like a pretty classy, calm sport, very quiet, a lot of like, gentle applause. And this Waste Management Open is known for the 16th hole, where there is a 17,000 person stadium that encloses the hole. And whenever there's a hole in one on this hole, which is rare, but it does happen at this tournament, people launch their beers onto the course. The whole 4-day tournament is a drinking frenzy. And your boy will be there this year.
Let's go. Let's go. So this is like a 4-day concert. This is like Lollapalooza for golf fans.
For golf. It's absolutely electric. I think it's like a bucket list item for me that I never thought I'd do. And then my friend Ari Clements decided to have his bachelor party there.
Is he a big golf fan?
He is not a golf fan at all, but he knows it would be a good time. So we're all rolling out to Arizona.
So what does a day look like? Like, what time are you waking up?
We're waking up at 5 a.m. to get to the golf course at like 5:30.
I know. Are you bringing like a rack of beer?
I don't think you can get in with any of it.
Is it really
funny to wear like a Camelback
with
like a beer in it? That would be hilarious.
Literally, that's concert vibes for sure.
Definitely. No, but we're getting there. I think we're trying to get there at 5 a.m. and we're there the whole day. I don't know if Ari's going to listen to this. This is supposed to be a surprise, so I hope he doesn't listen by the time we get there. We all bought bright orange polo shirts.
Oh my God.
And because he's a redhead. So we're all just going to be like super easy to spot around the course. Just like a bunch of dudes in huge bright orange polos.
Okay. And then when does the day end?
The day ends, I think, when everyone can't function anymore. Okay. So fair. We'll see when that happens.
hope beer's not too expensive in the
grounds.
In the grounds.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. People spend irrationally on bachelor parties. So
it's true.
I'm not going to be any
honestly,
exception to that.
just don't think about it too much.
Mom, I'll be responsible, I promise. The last part of Hold My Beer is there's this new thing called the Enhanced Games that has had a ton of venture capitalist backing. The Enhanced Games are sports where steroids are encouraged. These people basically want to test the limits of human capabilities. So in most sports, you can't take steroids. You can't take these drugs that improve your performance.
That's what happened to Lance Armstrong.
The
cyclist, to be
exactly.
To be
Barry
sure.
Bonds, infamously known for steroids. There are a lot of players who have been banned from their sport or just frowned upon for taking steroids. This league, They're like, juice up, take all the steroids you want.
This is
we want to
crazy.
see what you can do.
This is crazy. Also, their tagline, because we looked at this right before we started the pod, is sports can be safer without drug testing, which sort of seems like some Onion article you would read.
Crazy because sports without testing, sure, but sports with drugs, like,
Yeah.
not as safe.
I also do wonder, like, is it like everything's allowed? Like, come
Think
one,
so.
come all drugs?
I think so.
We're going to see some monsters.
They're gonna be
We're going to
freaks.
see some Hulks.
Yeah.
This
So,
is crazy.
keep
And
your eye
also,
out for the
Peter
enhanced
Thiel,
games.
one of the co-founders
Yes.
of PayPal,
He's a big backer.
is a huge backer to this. It doesn't seem like it's really in his playhouse on what he usually invests in, but this is something that we'll definitely keep our eyes on.
Yeah. We'll keep you guys updated on this. The enhanced games feel a little like icky to watch.
Yeah.
But also,
But come on.
probably going to watch.
And are they playing all sports?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
I
they're gonna-
have to imagine some sports are better than others to be on
Probably.
PEDs? PEDs.
Peds, yeah.
PEDs, performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
You know, like no dart player is going to be like jacked, right?
Break the dartboard. Yeah. So this one's the enhanced games. Keep your eyes peeled for that one, people.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll say is the marathon Olympic trials just happened.
Oh,
the
nice.
men's team took 2 players. I think 2:09 was the marathon time, running just under a
Jesus.
5-minute mile.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Women's time ended up at 2:22, which is under a 5-minute and 30-second mile.
These people are freaks.
These people
I'm
are
trying
freaks.
to run a 9-minute mile for my half marathon.
Yeah,
Like,
these people are freaks.
Oh my
I actually have a friend out in San Francisco who's a pretty insane marathon runner.
Yeah.
I think he's running sub 2:30, so 5:15 miles. Hopefully we'll have him on the pod sometime soon.
Whoa, that's insane. Wait, you run a lot.
I run a lot.
What's your average mile time?
My average mile time is 7:10.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm a pretty quick guy.
That's impressive.
Yeah, but
Good for you.
but not for 26. I'll tell you that.
I
So.
mean, have you run a marathon before?
Yeah, I ran the New York last year.
How long did it take you?
It took me 2:19.
No. Wait, what?
Yeah, 3:19.
Oh my gosh! Like, so you broke a record.
No, 3:19.
That's still insane.
7:40.
7:40 pace for 26 miles.
Yeah.
That's sick, dude. Wow.
It was good.
Good for you.
Thanks. We'll see if
Wow.
I can do better this year, but
I need you.
time will tell.
I need you to train me.
Yeah,
This
we'll see.
marathon.
You might be untrainable. No, I'm kidding.
It's harsh.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it for the Super Bowl pod.
Early peek at the Super Bowl. Share this with a friend. I know that you guys have friends who are going to be lost for the Super Bowl. Send this to them. Rate this podcast 5 stars. It helps a lot. Subscribe. Follow us on all of our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube handles
Yep.
at @RookieMistakes_pod. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.
Let's go.